Good evening, everybody. And yes, we're back with another edition of your favorite Thursday night viewing. It's all about Klopp talk. I must say good evening and welcome to my splendid panel. So I'm going to say good evening. Pred's looking fresh there, my old China.
Good evening. Yes, I'm looking fresh.
Knock off a few years, all right, man.
Yeah, I'm looking about 25. It only lasts about.
Hey, don't push it, son. Don't push it. Yeah, all right. Good evening, Mr. Stoney. How we doing, sir?
I'm good. Listen, you can hear that Preds is still on the dial-up because you can hear all of the background. And Preds, you actually like your AI because there's some little touch up there saying that you got the little shape up like you come up from Turkey.
They put a bit of foundation on him, you know.
I'm telling you.
When you say he's fixing like Jermaine Jackson, yeah?
We gave him a bit of foundation, a bit of a touch up, bro.
Wow, man.
Prince is in the, what do you call it? Prince is in the makeup room before he come on, you know what I mean?
Get sharp, Prince. Get sharp, man.
Dr. Blake, how we doing, my brother?
I'm well, man. I'm well. Glad to be back.
All refreshed from your holiday jaunt.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And
loving life.
Yeah.
I can see you got skin's glowing in that, brother. I can see it. Yeah.
Trying to ting, you know. I did get a few like Are You 28 out there still. So I was happy with that still. But in saying that, people that were saying it were blaming it after like my cash still, so I can't even really front it too much. But yeah.
People said it was after a tip.
Yeah, 100.
What's wrong with that? Dr. Blake, there's nothing wrong with going on holiday and be balling out, you know. I'll say it's nice to feel like Jay-Z or DJ Khaled. I'm not going to say the other person because they're involved in some issues with America at the moment, but go and flex out and be that person, man.
Go spend that money, B. That's why we work hard. Good evening, Demas. Nice to have you on board, my brother. Big shouts goes out to Mr. VW. Nice to have you on board as well. And big shouts goes out to all the others locked on. And yeah, man, just ready to make sure you got your comments ready for today because this is, man, we want this to be very inclusive today. It is very, very inclusive, okay? So do remember, hit that like, that share, and that subscribe. Today's topic will be talking about where does Klopp rank amongst other great Liverpool managers. So we will be dissecting that shortly. Before we do that, you know what we have to do. We have to go into what's going on in this, I won't say paper talk. I don't read the papers anymore. But what's really going on out there? So we're seeing the latest one is now, and I've seen this one's been, seems like it's been getting a bit of legs. Don't know how true this one is, but they reckon that there's been an offer made of 45 million euros for Ederson, the holding midfielder from Atalanta. How are we feeling about that, gents? And are we taking these with a pinch of salt or what?
Okay, I'll go first because I've been on for a while. You know what I mean?
I can see you're itching. I can see it.
Itching. So I think we have to take things like with a pinch of salt simply because the market is going to be quite quiet now, simply because you've got the Euros, you've got the Copa America, but then there is also this pending deadline for a few clubs where they have to have their business sorted out by the 30th of June.
That's right.
We're in an interesting space. So we know typically slot hadn't been announced to the press yet or done a press conference, but we know that obviously Hughes is leading the charge with some of the signings. So it is possible that this could be true. For me personally, if we get him, I'd be over the moon. I think we need people in our team who, one, want to defend, want to sprint back, want to clap man, and it's their natural game to be aggressive and to win the ball back. And I've only seen this guy play 3 times, twice against us, and in the Europa League final. And I just thought, against us, he completely dominated our midfield. And he's got athleticism, intensity, aggression. He's not bad on the ball. So for me, if we were to get him, I'd be over the moon.
Okay, lovely. Stoney?
Probably looking at a central midfielder, as Dr. Blake was saying, fits our profile, 24, hasn't actually played any games for the national team. It'll be interesting to see whether he gets called up for the Copa America. He's played a certain amount of games for Atalanta. I think they bought him from Salernitana before because he's at Corinthians. Played a certain amount of games this season. Same thing we were speaking about before. His contract's up in 2027. We'll look at it. I think I'm just going to be honest. Any player that we are going to be linked to, and I mentioned on the WhatsApp group before here, with Edwards coming back to our club, we usually move stealth. So, like, I just want, if we're going to be linked with anybody, I just want to wake up in the morning, see the person in Liverpool top. Don't really want speculation being drawn out like Bellingham and Thuram and all of these players that we've been linked with in the past. So if we are, we'll just see. Look, I think it's commonplace, and we've obviously seen it. Atalanta had a really good season. Whether this Brazilian player can make the transition to the Premiership, we don't know. But as I said, he fits the profile. We'll just see. But I just like things being quiet, personally, man.
Agree.
I hear that. Prince.
Oh, I've got to be honest. He's about the 200th person that we've been linked with in the last 24 hours, let alone a week.
I said in 24 hours, you know.
we've been linked to all sorts, you know, and I just think I think I'm going to be consistent in regards to Liverpool do their work in stealth mode, and until there's an official press conference or official word from LFC saying that we've signed this player and they've signed on the dotted line, that's where I'm going to react. But you know, every day we turn, you go to social media, and it's mostly social media and XYZ coming out, and we're in for this player, we're in for that player, and I just think, you know what, at the moment, I'm actually I can't wait to see the first press conference for Arne Slot, let alone get a new player in. I kind of want to see him in a Liverpool attire, talking about LFC and talking about what he thinks in his philosophy. Once that happens, I think then the background, I think the signings, if there are going to be, will start to trickle in after that.
Okay. Well, as Stoney said in the group earlier, he wants to see them like some gully creep. That one had me busted up.
Makes sense, though. Makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, there's more anyway. There's more, because there's also talk of Liverpool showing massive interest in a player that they was talking about before, and especially they're getting back now because his price has gone down for Chiesa from Juve. They're saying that Juve no longer are demanding 51 million and are actually willing to accept 21 million now. So there's massive. They're supposed to be showing big interest in that, especially as we was interested in him previously.
I like Chiesa. He's had a few injury problems. I know he's had a few knee injuries, I believe. So I don't know if he's over that. And I guess, we don't really see that much of Italian football, and unless they're in a European competition. He's probably going to be dependent on if somebody leaves. I guess if Diaz was to go, then it's a possibility. But apparently Richard Hughes, it is Richard Hughes, right? Yeah. Apparently he does favour the Italian market, so we might be linked to a few Italian players, or just say players playing in this area. But I think Chiesa is good, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Chiesa, I mean, Chiesa is he's well known in regards to what he can do and his ability that he's got. I'm in line to agree with Dr. Blake in regards to it might mean that someone has to go first before he comes in. However, I mean, we've had a couple of midfielders go. So he could. I mean, who would be someone who can share that role with Salah on the right hand side? Diaz could do. Jota can go on that right hand side. So you know what? I mean, if he's available and we get him, fair play, brilliant. But until it signs on the dotted line, who knows what's going to happen? Hey, did Juve compete in the Champions League this year?
No.
Because are they banned from the Champions League?
They might have been. They compete in Champions League? I don't think they did.
I don't think they did, you know.
I don't think they were in any European competitions.
Yeah, that could be correct still.
but I think they're going out trying to beg to get back into the European Committee, because obviously they were one of the leaders in regards to having that breakaway Super League.
Right.
So maybe, and plus then they need a new manager as well. So who knows?
Don't these boys going there, man?
I don't know, probably. Do you know, I think the interesting thing with this Chiesa thing is, I think on last week where we had about Somerville from Leeds. And we were looking at potential. Yeah, we were looking at potential additional forwards. So Kaiser, 26. I think Italy they're going to be in the Euros. So I think for us as a panel, we'll have the opportunity to obviously look at him to see what he's doing on an international level during the Euros. Another left footer. If he comes in, I think it's the same thing we were saying before. Does he then come in on the left-hand side to displace Diaz, or does Diaz move over on the right-hand side if Salah moves on? We're probably looking at about £40 million. If we were to get Kaiser, he's paid this, he's a seasoned international. His stats. If
Are
you want to
you
look
talking about Kaiser or Chiesa?
Chiesa,
Chiesa,
same thing, man.
Same person, man.
It's past 10 o'clock. Let's not get technical. This ain't school, man.
I'm just making sure we're talking about the right player. That's all. I was like, who?
Freds, this Italian guy that we linked for at Juve.
Yeah. That's it.
But yeah, I think it's one of those things. His numbers speak for himself. I think we've mentioned on previous shows about output in terms of Luis Diaz. So we looked about the amount of games he's played for us. We've looked at the stats in terms of his goals or assists, his progression. If we're looking at somebody else in that mold, 26, this player obviously fits our mold. Same thing. We'll just embrace it and we watch. I will keep an eye out for him on Euros. So that will allow me to obviously give a more in-depth to see how he's currently doing. But you know what the main thing though, Artie, I'm glad you actually posed that question as well, because I think for us moving into next season, I'd like to see us actually bolster our squad. Mm-hmm. So if he comes in to bolster our squad to make sure that he's fighting for a first or second position, then that can only do us in a good position.
Definitely. Big shouts goes out to Mr. Thoughts of the Day. Nice to have you on board, sir. And he says, evening, fellas, tuned in. Let's go. Don't worry, man. We're getting there. We will be getting there, man. I want your lots of opinions. VW, he says that Italians don't do well in this league. And I was just going to say something, but then he was quick to jump on it. Zola was one of the few exceptions, because I was definitely going to mention
Thank you.
Definitely.
But do you remember, Ravanelli did all right at Middlesbrough. Yeah. And a certain person called Vialli didn't do too bad at Chelsea either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very, very true indeed. Okay, and another one we've been talking about. Big shout goes out, Don P. We got the copy and them. What are your hopes under Slot? We will be talking about that. Don't worry about that. We will talk about that. But right now, we're going to be talking about Klopp versus the other Liverpool managers. Okay. Alan Varela. The Argentinian is said to be likened to Javier Mascherano, and they're talking about $75 million for him. Another holding midfielder that we've been linked to.
So go on.
Sorry. No. Listen to you.
I was just going to say, so I've watched him play a few times, and he's good. He's a good passer of the ball, one of those metronomes. Like, he has high passing stats, and he is relatively quite aggressive. But I don't know how good he is as a ball winner, and I'm not necessarily sure how physical he is. He's good though, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just going a bit too far to one side, but I just want somebody who's going to come in and just clap me.
No, I hear that. Damn right.
and
A proper destroyer.
yeah, but he no, I don't know if he's physical enough in terms of like his aggression and his ball winning. Yeah, I don't know because I guess in my head I'm looking at it like assuming we're gonna play Arnie Slot's new way, we're gonna have a box midfield. Like in my head, it's basically gonna be Mac 10 and then somebody to play alongside Mac 10. So like I need somebody who's got a bit of like a bit of just physical presence to go alongside Mac 10. I don't know if Varella's that for me.
Okay. Reds?
I ain't got a Scooby you're talking about, to be fair.
Stoney?
You caught me side-handed as well. I think me and Preds are rowing in the same boat down at the Serpentine at Hyde Park because I thought you was talking
you're not
about,
getting in circles.
yeah, I thought you was talking about the right back, the Argentine. I mean the other Uruguayan right back. And I'm thinking we've got a Uruguayan at the moment who's not really cutting the mustard up front. So I thought
he banged a hat trick last night, though.
He did score a hat trick last night.
Yeah, banged a hat trick last night.
Have you seen the goals?
Who did? Who did?
No, I ain't seen him yet.
Who scored a hat trick last night?
Darwin.
On tabletop.
Yeah.
Take a look at goals 2 and 3.
That's a tabletop football here. Hey, you remember the one where you used to have to push down the player's head?
Yeah.
Kick the ball.
No, you played well.
Table football. Yeah.
He played well, Darwin. His link-up play looked quite sharp. But yeah, I guess in the course of the week or even today, this evening, take a look at the goals because they're all relatively tap-ins. And goals 2 and 3, I swear down in it, this guy could have easily missed, and they're both tap-ins. Like the way he connects to these tap-ins, it's not convincing. Like you could easily see them, that they could have easily missed in it. Now, maybe I'm being harsh to someone and say, yeah, but he still scored in it. But I guess you still want to see some kind of like proficiency in your technique, which is going to lead to some kind of like consistency, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
No. Listen, behave yourself. Listen, if it comes off his kneecap, job done. As long as it goes in, then it is, as a striker, it is what it is. Whether you, if you're looking for like
3, so
yeah,
right.
if you're looking for
played well.
How that does.
He played well, played very well.
Okay. And the last one we're going to talk about, gentlemen, before we get into the managers, is Mohamed Kudus from West Cork.
See, now I talked about him last week, and I said, you know what, I wouldn't mind. I was a bit surprised that we didn't actually get him before the Hammers. I've got to be honest, and I think it's one of those where it really irritates me, right? Where you got these potentially good players, and we don't go for them until they go to someone else, and they go to someone else, and then they do all right, and then all of a sudden now we've got to pay through the nose, and it's like, why don't we should have enough analysis on the potential players to actually say, you know what, this young lad, it has got potential. If other clubs are looking at him, let's go and get him now, because he had a slow start with the Hammers. However, as the season progressed, his performances have got better and better, and his influence on the team got stronger and stronger. And you know, he was doing things where I'm thinking, hold on for a second, this guy's not a Hammers player, man. Yeah, I mean, and that did you see that goal he scored for the? I can't remember.
The season. Come on.
Yeah, like when he's running through and he's doing, but you know, I mean, he's just doing he's doing wonders, and I'm thinking, sort of, why? I'm just frustrated with it. But yeah, if we can get him, why not?
Okay. Stoney?
Yeah, look, I think we've spoken about in previous shows about our recruitment, and we spoke about the recruitment of Brighton as an example, and what they've obviously done in terms of highlighting and earmarking potential players from the off, and then us obviously then coming in secondary after that. Kudus, I think, will be a good addition. I think it's clear that he's settled in within the Premiership. Left-footed player, can play attacking midfield. I'm sure he can play in the series of positions as a number 8. And it'll be interesting to see whether we make a change in our formation on the slot. But I would welcome that addition. But similar to what Preds was saying, what amount of money they'll be looking to ask for him would be questionable. I reckon we can probably get him for about £50 million and a pair of laces. So
a pair of laces.
Just have to be in that conversation, man. But yeah, no, in all seriousness, I think he'll be a good addition. West Ham's new manager, is it Locatelli?
Locatelli, yeah.
Locatelli, okay. So with the new manager coming in, he's probably not going to want to lose one of, in my opinion, you've probably got Bowen, Kudos
Paqueta.
as the main players. Sorry for Paqueta. If he's still able to play with everything else that's happening, betting £7 on £7 on bets. So to see whether he's going to be able to play next season. £7. If you know what, I'm being honest, right? Listen, if things was that bad, he could have tuned into the show, and if he's got like a cash app, I would have just forwarded him the £7.
£7.
If that's the case, you know what I mean? Why are you mashing up your career for that? That makes no sense to me.
Man. No, it doesn't make no sense at all. Doesn't.
It doesn't. Not one
Doctor,
kudos.
Huge fan. I guess to echo what Preds was saying about the recruitment, but I guess we'll probably come into the recruitment side as we have to go through Klopp and his legacy. But I think rather than focusing on the negatives, I think moving forward, things should improve with that front. I think this is possibly why the owners are looking at setting up satellite clubs across the world as well. So we can get these players who are talented, even if they're not ready for us, but they can play in slightly smaller leagues. But yeah, apparently Michael Edwards is a massive fan of Kudos. And I guess from what I saw, Brighton wanted him and he was keen to go to Brighton. However, he wanted a release clause to be inserted into his contract. I think Brighton were haggling on that, and then he goes to West Ham. So I guess there is probably a belief that he might have a release clause. It might be there. It might not be there. If it's not, then I think we're probably looking at, I don't know, with 60 up, 60, 70, maybe even more. And I can't see us doing a deal at that price.
Yeah, I hear that.
Good player, though.
Brighton got a decent one as well, in Adringa.
Baller.
Yeah, he's another one.
Baller, man.
Yeah.
And I think clubs need to be a bit more ambitious with some of these guys. And I know there's this belief that the Premier League is like this super tough league. And I'm not saying that it's not a physical league, but I mean, Jesus Christ, you travel the world and you see a few places and you think to yourself, these men are playing in really harsh environments where they don't have luxuries. They ain't got Predator boots and lush pitches as utes, harsh terrains, having to walk how many hundreds, how far they're training, and they're having to play in really intense physical leagues, especially the South American leagues. So this whole thing around can Brazilian leagues, we also say can players from Brazil hack it in the Premier League? If it's yourself, have you actually watched football in Brazil? Half these men are mad poor. They're in favelas, but man have got guns and no trainers. But yeah, apparently the Premier League's too tough for them. So I think we broaden our horizons about players at the ranges of their development.
I hear that. VW says it's time to jump on the Darwin Express, lads, and enjoy the ride. Will he score? That ride's a bit up and down, bro. Up and down. That's the problem. Okay, peoples, I hope you are ready now. You are ready, yeah? We are going to match Klopp against pitch him against these other managers. And then we're going to try and decipher and see where he stands against these other great Liverpool managers, because he has to go down as one of the greats, okay? Let me see. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 other managers to rate him against today.
Boy, I'm not going to spoil the show, but RT, it doesn't matter what you say. There's only one person in my mind, and I'm going to stick to that. I'm just saying that. Only one person.
Don't be too quick, bro. You have to listen to.
No,
You know,
believe me, boy.
you have to listen to both sides of the argument. Okay, so the first one we will start with. Okay, so this man here, he won 2 League Cups, 1 FA Cup, 1 UEFA Cup, 1 Charity Shield. Frenchman,
Gerard Houllier.
okay, of course it has to be. Has to
It's not matter, my friend.
Vinny. Okay, VW. Okay, we see your thoughts. So Gerard Houllier, like I said, 2 League Cups, 1 FA Cup, 1 UEFA, and 1 Charity Shield. What we got to say about Houllier, gentlemen?
Well, I mean, first of all, we came in as a tag team with Roy Evans, didn't he?
That's right.
That's
Right, Prince. Well done, son.
Yeah, and he was kind of known as a bit of a doctor of football or something like that.
Yeah.
And
That's
came
the
with
only
Roy
time
Evans.
that's been done at the club, by the way, yeah?
Sorry?
In history. It's the only time that's been done at the club that has been a joint manager at Liverpool.
Yeah.
Only time in the club's history.
And I'm not quite sure what happened. I know that, I think Gerard Houllier was in there, but also because Roy Evans has been there for so long and he had that connection with the players as well. Because I don't think any player has said any bad word against Roy Evans. But I think Roy Evans just wasn't a manager who was going to take us to the next level or anything like that. And Gerard Houllier came in, ruffled a few feathers. Ultimately, when he got his team together, I mean the European, what was it, the Winners' Cup final against Alves, which was an absolute ding dong of a game. But we won 5 trophies under him, didn't we, in one season?
Yeah,
we won 4 in one season.
4 in one. Sorry, yeah, we just won 4 in one season. So
yeah.
I mean, look, I think he's
FA
not
Cup, League Cup, UEFA Cup, Charity Shield.
Yeah,
and a Super Cup, European Super Cup as well.
Then the following season,
won a European Super Cup that year
again.
as well, 2001.
Yeah. Did he not give Stevie G his debut as well?
he did.
Mm-hmm. So
he gave Stevie G and Jamie Carragher
alongside Roy Evans as joint manager. To this day, it's only occasion that's happened in the club's history. After Evans left the club later that year, the rebuild began, bringing in the likes of Heskey and Sami Hyypiä. Houllier also had huge faith in academy, allowing the likes of Steven Gerrard, Jamie Carragher, and Michael Owen a chance in the first team. They all shone. He went on to win an array of trophies, including an unforgettable treble in 2001. However, after a forgettable final 2 seasons, Houllier was relieved of his duties. Doctor Houllier.
So, in many ways, I'm often fond of calling Mikel Arteta Diet Pep, a clear impersonation of Pep Guardiola. And in many ways, I do think at this moment in time, although Houllier was a good appointment, it did feel like we were a bit like a diet Arsenal or a diet Arsene Wenger. We were almost moving down this whole French way. And whilst it brought the club forward, it still felt that we were looking to what our rivals are doing and trying to kind of imitate that. There was a great line in Carragher's book, actually. I actually read Carragher's book. And he basically says one of the key reasons why Liverpool were behind Arsenal in that period was around our signings. And he basically says Arsenal spent £6 million on Robert Pires, yeah? In that same period, Houllier caused civil war in Merseyside to sign Nick Barmby for £6 million. So I think kind of like picked it in that you've got one of the Premier League all-time great players for the same price that we're causing civil war for Nick Barmby. Don't get me wrong, I think Houllier certainly brought the club forward into the modern era a little bit. And I think for that he was to be applauded. But do I think he was a better coach than Roy Evans? No. I think he probably got a little bit more support from the board and was entrusted to take the club forward. And he made some very good signings, and obviously, yeah, he could have been silverware, but I don't know. I personally thought the Roy Evans team was better personally.
Okay.
And I can
Stoney?
never forget. Sorry, my last point about the Arsenal thing. I can never forget when he signed who I think he called the heir to Patrick Vieira, just bigger and stronger, and up rocks Salif Diao. Let's not also forget when he had the chance to sign Nicholas Anelka, but thought to himself, not going to sign Anelka, I'll sign Diouf instead. But yeah, there were some wonderful things around that. But yeah, that Salif Diao one, I was just like, rude, but Vieira, but bigger and stronger. And I've got Salif Diao playing in my midfield. Yeah. But did a lot of good things you guys have said. Like, absolutely did. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Stoney.
I think Houlier's appointment was, correct me, hopefully either one of you guys from the panel or somebody in the comments will be able to elaborate on this. So whereas we had joint managers in Houllier and Roy Evans, weren't Crystal Palace in the same position as well at on that period of time? Or didn't they have two joint managers as well?
Someone. Was it Copeland?
Somebody, yeah.
There you go. Right. So I'm thinking about the time that Houllier was appointed at Liverpool. I think his task was quite revolutionary, and the reason why I say that is we always had the boot room, right? That transition from Roy Evans to Houllier in terms of joint management, and then Houllier taking on by himself, he was almost ending what would have been the historical side of being a boot room. So I think for him, that period of time would have been quite hard for me, in my opinion. For that period of time, I'm thinking about, as Dr. Blake was saying, I'm thinking about players that he brought in terms of like Anelka. I'm not saying all of these players that I'm going to mention were good, by the way, Eric. Some of them were a bit on the fence. But I'm thinking of Anelka. I'm thinking of, listen, Milan Barros was in the equation. Do you remember we had a player? What was this guy? Was his name? There was another striker. It was a French guy, a left winger. Diomende or something. I know his first name was Bernard. What was it? What was it? Diomende. So I remember we had Diomende. But who brought in Yari Littnerman then? Because Littnerman, I liked Yari Littnerman.
He was a baller.
So I'm
Houllier signed him.
Right, so I'm thinking of Littnerman. Didn't we get I know you guys.
At one point, though,
you guys are
our forward line was Littmanen. So our forward options were Littmanen, Owen, Heskey, and I believe Fowler.
Yes, Fowler was still there. Yeah. Fowler was about.
He got rid of Fowler though, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, but he went lead. But he was still, Fowler was right. But remember, Fowler had a lot of other issues. But
Littmanen was a serious baller. That's one of that was a great signing. But guess what?
Bernard Diamande, World Cup winner.
Diamande, right? Who brought in McAllister then? Was McAllister?
No, it was Houllier as well. No,
Houllier. So right, cool. So I'm thinking of Houllier bought in McAllister. Remember we bought Dietmar Hamann. Didn't we get Dietmar Hamann from Newcastle?
That was Houllier still.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Houllier, yeah.
We got Houllier in there for there. I'm not going to try and big him up.
Remember he bought in Bruno Charroux, who was meant to be the next.
He bought in Hoopier. Was Hoopier then them times there as well? Did he bring in
Houllier?
Houllier. Brilliant. So I'm just thinking of some of those transitions, but my main thing for Houllier, I'm just thinking of in terms of the historic side of it, in terms of Honcho, yeah? Honcho was all right, though. Honcho played for us all right.
Yeah, Honcho was all right.
Yeah, so going back to what Artie was saying in terms of the silver he got. So even in that season, we won 2001, League Cup, FA Cup, UEFA Cup, UEFA Super League, and the charity. So that was 5 Charity Shield, even though there's only off on it, Julio did all right. And if you think of it, the only reason why things didn't work out, obviously, because he came unwell. But for me, the impact he had was a transition from breaking down the boot room and also cloning some of the things in terms of new football in terms of what Arsene Wenger was doing. But I think he needs to be in the conversation, Julio. He did change it for us at Liverpool.
But you know what? But you know what? Just before you go on, you know, he under Julio, we had, if not one of the best centre half pairings since Alan Hansen, Mark Lawrence, and
what, Hippier and Honcho?
Yeah,
yeah,
they were they were the best centre half pairing. Like, Honcho just came on the back with Hoppier. They were just two big mountains, man, and they were just absolutely thinking. And plus, Honcho could play as well.
No, he could play ball, definitely.
Did that season? Did we get what's that player's name? Did we get Babel from Bayern Munich, or was it the season afterwards?
No.
When did we get Babel? Remember, it was right back and used to put that in the group. Vinny.
He was
Marcus Babel as well, but Babel became ill and was never the same.
Yeah. That's what I said. So I knew it was around that time.
It was quality.
Thank you, Vinny.
Remember, he brought in Christian Ziga.
Yes.
The left back, the German left back. Yeah.
Baller.
Okay.
He brought in TT Kamara.
Kamara was a good signing.
Do you know what? Thank you. I do apologize for interrupting. I like TT Kamara, you know. He was right. He did all right for us, man.
Man did bits, flair, pace, creativity. So I think
TT Kamara was right
with Houllier, right? Because obviously he was the technical director at Clairefontaine, right? So had obviously a very good approach to the game in terms of the technical aspects of it. So yeah, I did go through some of these players. You can see he's brought some good signings to the club, but
he brought some rubbish as well, though.
But then it's almost just then, what do you then do with that? And ultimately, after we had that great season where we then obviously then won the 3 trophies, what did we then do in terms of?
We bought some rubbish.
Yeah.
Who's it? Diouf?
Because didn't we buy? We bought Diouf. Do you remember we bought
Bruno
Giroud didn't work out for us. Bruno Giroud. Do you remember we bought? There was 2 midfielders.
The Talak and
was his name Diao? Was his name Diao? Yeah, we bought Diao. We bought 2 rubbish right backs. Hegem and what was that guy with the blonde hair?
I like Hegem in there.
Oh, Xavier.
Is it Xavier? What was that? Xavier.
Kabama.
Was that what you said? Yeah.
Xavier, the Portuguese brother.
Abel Xavier from Everton.
Abel Xavier.
Yeah, we bought some rubbish as well, man. Yeah. We did waste some money, man.
But if you think about it,
BW goes on to say Houlier's success underappreciated because of the style of footy, and a lot of the ex-players didn't like his style. Like Cara, Gerrard, Danny Murphy rate him highly. He may have been better as a technical director.
I think that's my point. Yeah.
Talking about Crystal Palace, it was Curbs and Alan Smith.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vinny. Thank you, Vinny.
Diamondi, World Cup winner. Sami Hyypiä, world-class defender. His only fault was that he was from Finland.
He's a good player, though. He's a good player.
The Russian MMA fighter as well, Igor Biscan.
Yeah, that's it.
But if you think about it,
who brought in Cinema Pongo?
I don't know.
Was it Houllier, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Pongo in the talent.
If you think about it, right, the players that Houllier brought in, quite a lot of them, a portion of them, actually won the Champions League with Rafa.
I know, but that's
but I think that's Rafa's genius, though. That's not because they were good players.
That's different.
No, but
Pred, do you know what I think of that? Pred, do you know what I think about that? I just think of when Chelsea won the Champions League under Di Matteo. That went Di Matteo's work, you know. Yeah. That was the manager before, man. So Yeah.
I see your point.
I understand what you're saying.
No, but no,
Yeah, I do see
like
what
what
you're saying.
I'm not saying no, yeah, but I'm saying quite a portion of the players Houllier got in maybe didn't work towards the end of Hollier's reign. However, same players, different manager, they still managed to go and win the Champions League. But
I guess
that's
be this, right? Did we challenge for the league?
No.
In what? How long was Houllier there? Houllier was there between.
I wonder Houllier. Did we ever challenge?
2001 to 2004.
Must be a
bit
bit more.
3 seasons, isn't it? Because
because
Benitez came in afterwards, so he was there for 3 seasons.
98 to 2004.
So 6 years.
6 years. Oh,
98 to 2004, he was there.
And we ended up regressing under Houllier as well.
Right. So, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you now.
Oh, yeah,
out of 7 managers, 7 spaces, what number, Stoney, are you giving to Gerard Houllier?
Yeah, that's hard, man. Listen, I'm just putting it out there to the community.
It's not an easy show, bro. This is
I'm just saying,
bro.
I know, but I'm just putting it out to the community. Yeah, Artie set me up because I thought he was just looking at who's going to be number 1, and I'm just thinking of number 1. So anybody else that Artie and the panels are speaking about,
there's always going to be a twist.
Yeah, but the thing is, he come in this. Not even a round number 10. He come in 7.
Nah. Artie, I'm not even giving him butter with crackers. He's won silverware, but he's not up there for me, man.
So hold on,
I already know who's my number 1.
No, but what number are you giving him?
What am I allowed to give him? What it's out of?
Between 1 and 7.
I give him a 6.
Okay, so Stoney says Houllier at 6. Doctor.
I would have said 6, but that's Salif outstanding, and he's bottom for me, man. He's 7.
You're giving him 7?
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah, like any manager that signs Salif and doesn't stand in Nelka, like, yeah.
Do you know what, Artie? Do you remember
didn't
we sign Artie? Didn't we sign? Didn't he sign Chris Kirtland, or was Chris Kirtland there before?
I think he is signed.
Do you remember that goalkeeper? Do you remember that goalkeeper, Chris Kirtland?
Of course I do. A long piece of shit, yeah.
And we had there was a French goalkeeper, Peggy someone.
Peggy actually.
Yeah, I know. Fred knows all goalkeepers, man.
Of course.
That goalkeeper was as tall as me, and I'm about 6'2".
Peggy,
what?
He wore what?
Peggy, say that again, Stoney. You're what?
Right.
Okay. Preds, what number you giving Houllier, Preds?
I'll give Houllier. I'm gonna give him a 6 because I think the ones that you're going to bring in, I think probably going to be slightly better.
Okay, we're going to move on to the next one, gents. We need to get this cracking. Okay.
It's bloody Stoney.
Of Paisley's backroom staff and one of the founders of the iconic boot room, this manager stepped into his predecessor's shoes following retirement. Englishman quickly picked up the baton following the earlier success Liverpool had with a stunning treble in 1984 and famously securing the Reds' 4th European Cup. This manager made himself a loved figure by Scousers almost immediately and turned out to be a great story after he was reserve team coach throughout the 1960s. After losing the FA Cup semi-final to United in 85 and missing out on the league, this manager retired from management.
Is that Smoking Joe?
It is.
All right, Stoney.
Okay.
So,
what did Smoking Joe give us? So we won, and this is just for anybody watching who thinks that football was only started during the Premiership years. Please, man, just don't insult my intelligence. Football did exist before 1991, 92. It just really infuriates me. So what did Smoking give us?
We won a league championship, a league cup, and a European Cup all in the same season.
So he won the treble then. That's nice then, isn't it?
Hold on. Before we move on a bit.
Okay.
think he did still. It's for
Deemer
obviously
says Hodgson bottom,
Liberties.
and Houllier, Vinny says Houllier number 7. Yep, that's bottom as well. Okay. Okay. So, yeah. Smoking Joe, a treble in 1984.
Hmm.
And a big boy treble at that as well.
Am I right in saying that Big Smoking Joe was the first manager to get a treble in one season in English football?
Wow.
In English football.
You might be. You'd have to look that up, mate. But that you might have a good shout there.
He was the first English. I think he was Smoking Joe, because when Smoking Joe, I can remember him in his Crown Paints, added the Crown Paints top, the red stripy one. You know when they do the team pictures at the start of the season, and his head and shoulders shot. And I can just remember his slick back grey hair, no hair out of place, and he's got this Crown Paints retro top on. Well, now he's a retro top on. And Joe Fagan was just he's just coolness personified, wasn't he? He was just a cool guy.
Yeah.
He just looked like a cool manager you'd run through brick walls for as well. And he wasn't a shouter either. He was just very quietly smoking as well.
And a big shout goes out to Mr. Amit. Okay. Vinny says that Egan was good, but injuries flawed him.
I think that period of time when you just mentioned about Joe Fagan winning the treble, RT, that was the period of time in my prime time that I remember Liverpool. I was still young, still living in Wembley, so we still had Grobbelaar, we still had like Phil Thompson, we still had Alan Hansen, we still had, you guys are going to laugh at me, but I still thought he was all right as a centre-back. We still had Keith Gillespie. We still had Mark Lawrenson, Alan Kennedy. Phil Neal was still there them times, even though Phil Neal was probably about the same age as Kenny Dalglish, so they were on the outside. Ian Rush, I think, was still there. Do you remember we bought a player, I can't remember the team he used to play. John Walk. I think he used to play for Ipswich. Of course,
Ipswich.
Yeah, Walk. Yeah,
Ipswich. It was Ipswich, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we had John Walk. Those time that played for us as well. We had an alright team, and the older age players was like the Dalglish and Graham Souness was probably about the last ages around 31 and stuff like that. So the team had a good blend of youth and experience. So even going back, like you was mentioning, that didn't even cross my mind, RT. So I have to big you up on that. Actually.
Smoking Joe signed the big Dane.
Yeah, I didn't even think.
Jan Moby.
Yeah,
man, genius.
Paul Walsh. Remember when Paul Walsh with the long locks?
Yeah.
From Luton Town, and we got him.
Come on.
Yeah, Kevin McDonald. We got him. He got him as well. We had
and you have to put it out there for these young cats as well who wouldn't know this. You know who's there as well? Craig Johnson, the original man who created Predators.
I don't think the youngsters out there know how deep this goes. They don't know how deep this goes.
He's one of my favorite players. I love Craig Johnson.
Oh, mate, those long curly locks of hair, running around, bouncing around, quick. And he was quick, and he just run all day, And to be fair, he saw a niche in the market, and I don't think, like I said, people attribute Adidas Predator to David Beckham.
Yeah.
When David Beckham merely wore the boots, Craig Johnson manufactured and created a boot that transformed football boots.
So can I say something, Predator? Hopefully I'm wrong. So for some of you young cats that don't really know, like I'm the youngest out of the panel here. I'm just putting it out there, right? So imagine a footballer like being like you and creating a pair of like Yeezys. That's what Craig Johnson was on, yeah. He created a pair of Yeezys for football.
Massive, yeah.
Yeah, I like that analogy story. You're right. I like that one. Doctor Joe Fagan. Yeah, I know you might be a bit young for this still.
Yeah, obviously I've seen the tapes. So I guess not really in my era, so to speak. But yeah, look, I think the fact that he won what he won was very impressive. It was clearly a safe pair of hands. But I think we were a well-oiled machine at that point in time, as Stoney and Preds have also said. So in terms of judging him in the pantheon of greats, I think that has to be taken into account, not necessarily just what he won, but the system that he kind of inherited and how long he was manager for. So with that in mind, I want to just say where I think he ranked personally, because I think for me, there's managers who I'd rate above him. I've got him as number 6.
Okay.
And you know what, just to extend on Dr. Blake, I'm not going to be provocative, right? I'm just going to put a mic drop. And as I said, there's a reason why I'm saying this, because the manager that he followed is my number 1. So even though Fagan won the treble in 84, I'm still saying that he just did a Di Matteo, because he just took over from the reins of my number 1 guy from before. That's my mic drop. And I'm not saying who it is until Artie brings it up.
No problem. He's round, he's fat, he looks like Postman Pat. Sammy Lee. They say he's short, he's round, he bounces on the ground. Sammy Lee. Yeah, like a bit of Sammy Lee, mate. Okay, so Doctor's given Fagan put him at number 6. Stoney, where you putting Fagan then?
Well, you know what? I think one of the panel mentioned it. If you win a treble, then you're in a conversation. Pep's won a treble. Alex Ferguson's won a treble. Man them's carrying around like they can walk around in brief out a road. So Fagan has to be up there. Let's be serious, innit? It's true though, right? So I'm saying he'd be like number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put him up there. Julio won a quad.
Walking on the walk, yeah.
Walking
on the street in Greece.
Where you putting Fagan, Prince?
Joe Fagan, oh mate. Oh, I think it's gonna be top 5. Like I put Julio, who's won 4 trophies, as a 6. Joe Fagan, I'm gonna have to put as a 5, because we'll discuss going forward. My number 1.
You're gonna put him on number 5, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. See. Vinny has got Fagan at 4. Then he says, hold on. He says, hold on. 5 actually. 2 seasons with a treble in his first year. So he's put him at number 5. Okay, VW. All right, next manager, gentlemen. Some will say it was a surprise appointment at the time, but Liverpool opted to look to Europe for their new manager after the departure of Houllier, and this man was the man that Ian Parry brought in. There was a big task for the tactician to do after a poor few years for the Reds, but after giving Gerrard the number 8 shirt and bringing in the likes of Xabi Alonso, Luis Garcia, Liverpool quickly turned into one of the most exciting and plucky teams in Europe. So much so, they went on to win the Champions League in spectacular fashion against AC Milan in Istanbul, arguably the greatest final of all time. After securing the Super Cup the following summer, this manager added the FA Cup and Community Shield to the collection before leaving the club in 2010.
Mr. Rafa.
What was Rafa's? What was Rafa's?
I know what was his, a bit of Benitez.
What was he saying? What did he always like to say? Hey, for sure. For sure.
Was it for sure or por favor?
No, he had por favor, but he's like, can we win the thing? Ah, for sure. For sure.
Quality? So he just say quality.
quality.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Raf, you know what, Doctor? Come on.
Yeah. So
you know this.
in my criteria, not everyone's different. So this is probably where Fagan was a little bit lower for me because I'm looking at your manager, like the quality of your work as a manager, in addition to what you've done at LFC. So I just think the fact that with someone like Rafa winning the league in Spain, was it once or twice with Valencia? Fair enough. At that point in time, the financial situation was a bit more equitable, but still Real and Barca were the financial dominant teams. I think to win the league against the odds, always incredibly impressive for me. Also won the Europa League, and when we played against that Valencia team under Houllier, they gave us a footballing lesson, if I can remember that. They actually spanked us. And I just think what Rafa did was he made us competitive again at the top table. Because I know obviously Houllier got fourth, and there was that one season where I think we may have finished second on the Houllier, but we didn't really challenge. But I just think under Rafa, we weren't winning Europa Leagues, we were winning the Champions League and getting to the final of the Champions League or the semi-finals. We were competitive, we were spanking Real. Every season we were a serious team in Europe. And of course, there was that one season when we did have quite a strong league challenge as well. So for me, I think Rafa really brought the club forward. And the ownership situation at the club still wasn't great in terms of the money he was given, the backing, with all the boardroom issues as well. Hicks and Gillette come in and Rick Parry, and there was talk about Rafa wanting to sign players like Alves and Aguero and all this kind of stuff. So I just think kind of
Gareth Barry.
Yeah, well, that was when Rafa was, I guess, the beginning of the end, and I guess it happens to most managers. But yeah, I just think for Rafa kind of brought us that one stage further to competing for the big honours again. And yeah, for me, very impressive as a manager. I didn't always like his style of football and his decisions and his obsession with Dirk Kuyt. Jesus Christ. But other than the Dirk Kuyt issue, then yeah, Rafa maximum rating to me. I think he literally competed against some very, very strong teams, and I think he brought the club forward. So Rafa for me is fifth.
Okay.
See, now Rafa, you're absolutely right. He brought this discipline to Liverpool. He had a formation, he stuck to his formation, he brought this kind of rigid discipline, he put players in unorthodox positions. And he made us like a bit of a machine. Like you say, the football wasn't always good or wasn't great. However, the players that he put in the system worked. It worked, like without a shadow of a doubt. What I'm pissed off about is that he thinks of all the things that he's done. Excuse my language, but he can go over the road and manage the other. No, bruv, you can't do that. Oh no, I don't care whether you got a yard in Merseyside and you love Liverpool and your kids are born in Liverpool.
Rafa, man, Agent Rafa. What did he win with them?
It's not about
exactly.
winning.
Agent Rafa, mate.
No,
Go in there and just keep them down. That's what you do. He's the inside man.
That put a bad taste in my mouth. Put that off to one side. All right, Rafa given me, if not one of the best footballing moments of my life.
Very true.
Of my life, and I think I've said it to you before. I don't think I've mentioned it to you lot, but I was there.
Yes, no, you have told us more than once.
Have I told you?
More than once.
I weren't quite sure.
More than once.
I weren't quite sure. If anyone didn't know, I was there. Half time.
One thing that feed me off with him though was the Gareth Barry situation to replace a man like Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
Disrespect.
Yeah, but to be fair, we hadn't replaced Javi Alonso for a long time.
The disrespect. No, we still had Zabi.
Yeah, I know, but he
That's
wanted
what I'm
to,
saying. He wanted to bring in
yeah.
Barry to replace him.
Hmm.
The disrespect, bro.
Yeah, because
Sorry,
Zabi.
Gareth Barry couldn't lace his boots, mate.
Yeah, but Zabi wanted to go to Real Madrid. Was it Real Madrid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Zabi,
Yeah.
he's a Spaniard. He's come in. He's worked for a Spaniard. He's played for Liverpool. And come on, man, as a Spaniard, like it's either Real Madrid or Barcelona. When they come knocking, you know what I mean? When they come knocking, and Rafa, and to be fair, Rafa always had that continual fight as well, didn't he? He was always saying these little quips and jibes in the press about getting more money and getting more players in, and he's always moaning about getting new players in, always getting new players. And it was one of those. I think that's when I started to understand, like the message in between the line, written in between the lines, with managers, how they try to say a message, but not be blatant enough to say, well, you know what, they're not backing me. I need money to compete, and they're not backing me.
Yeah.
But for some reasons, Rafa articulated it so beautifully that sometimes people miss that little message. And it was always, you know what I mean? But you know what? For me, Rafa, he gave me one of the best footballing things in my life, and I'll give him a 4, mate. I'll be in. He's in number 4 for me.
Okay. Steve Stoney.
Listen, I think we're probably looking at impact, and sometimes the amount of silverware that a manager can win for a club doesn't always represent the impact he's actually done for the club or also as an individual. I'm going to send a picture at the end of the show in the WhatsApp group what Rafa actually means to me, and you'll see why. But 2000, when we won the Champions League in 2005, wasn't it?
5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was the, and we always talking about significance. So that was the year after my son was born, and I tell you, having my son born the year afterwards and us winning the Champions League, Rafa, for me, even though he only won 2 bits of silverware for us, will always go down in history, because I tell you, I was screaming like a woman in the night when we won the Champions League.
He won 4 bits of silverware.
What did he win for us? I thought he only won the Champions League and the FA Cup for us, didn't he?
No,
Yeah.
you got the UEFA Super Cup.
UEFA Super Cup.
You got the FA Cup.
Okay.
Charity Shield and the Champions League.
I take that back.
And the World Championships.
Sorry,
No,
just
we
do
was runners up.
Runners up, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So, when was your son born?
My son was born in September 2004. So the following year, when we won the Champions League in 2005.
See,
that for me was just like
that
perfect.
after Istanbul.
Nah. My son's name ain't Rafa.
I got excited. Why you never even Rafa?
Didn't Rafa bring his second in charge, Paco?
Yeah.
You may have. Yeah, you may
He
have.
brought his second in charge from Valencia, and the first season that we were good. We were playing ball, and then Paco left. Now I'm always wanting to know like what happened there, because them two were like brethren for years, and then we went to Liverpool, and then after one season, Rafa didn't fight to keep him. So that was I really wanted to find out. I was very interested to find out what the dynamics was happening there, because Paco was in effect like what Pep is to Klopp. You know, and everything went through Paco.
Yeah. What was interesting around that period of time for me, also with Rafa Benitez, and you guys correct me on this, Rafa was always also up against the money. Wasn't that around the period of time when Roman Abramovich came in with all of the money and stuff like that? So for me, I remember similar to this period of time with Klopp, where he's then having to battle against the finances of Man City. we did have an okay team. It wasn't the best, but we were also up against the money of Chelsea. So that's another period for me.
Man U were the Man City in terms of just spending.
Yeah.
Like, they were spending crazy amounts of money.
Yeah. But I just remember, I just remember the combination. I just remember the combination in the Rafa Benitez era. The combination of Xavi Alonso to Gerrard to Torres goal.
Our spine was incredible.
Or it was Xavi Alonso.
It was mad. It was mad.
Yeah, it was Xavi Alonso to Gerrard goal. It was like we would sit in and we'd do a low block, and then all of a sudden Xavi will just do a pass from nowhere. And for some reason, and there was that time when Gerrard, and when you get players who just have that chemistry and that, they know where they're going to be.
Yeah.
Xavi Alonso knew where Gerrard was going to be. Gerrard knew where Torres was going to be. And that's what it was like that was just something you probably see that once every 10 years, every 20 years, that sort of combination.
Yeah, and I agree. And Rafa made a few left field signings I also liked as well. Like, I like the Jermaine Pennant signing. I thought Pennant was blatantly decent at the time. I like the Peter Crouch signing. I thought Crouch was blatantly a good player. Bellamy.
He was.
Yeah, there was a few players that I just thought, okay, yeah, like, they're not high profile, but I'm liking the thinking here. So, but yeah, I think as Tony was saying, Rafa was just up against some serious odds because the money Chelsea were spending made it really, really hard for us to win the league. Obviously, Fergie was entrenched at Man U. Fergie time, the referees, Fergie's pick him up media. He can talk to the Howard Webb favoritism and that. So I just think, Rafa had some really tough conditions to work against.
Yeah, but if you think about it, right? But if you go back and you think about it, right? He brought in Pepe, who changed the way of football as a goalkeeper in regards to distribution and the ball at the goalkeeper's feet. He brought in Babel. Who else? He had Morientes. We had Morientes, Fernando Morientes. He brought in, he brought in some players, and it's like it's maybe Daniel Agar. He brought in Craig Bellamy. I like Craig Bellamy, to be fair. I didn't like him before he got to Liverpool, but when he got to Liverpool, I liked him. So he actually, in actual fact, he had some good players. Javier Mascherano. That was another one.
So, Stoney, where are we putting Rafa?
Oh, crumbs. Rafa would be fourth. Rafa would be fourth for me.
You can't have.
And it's more of it.
You've already got someone in four.
Well, he's gonna have to be fifth then. I've got an emotional attachment, but there's just 3 other managers up there before him. So yeah, he'll have to be fourth. But for me, it's more of an emotional attachment for Rafa.
Okay.
Because I'm not saying his football was not cute on the eye.
All right. So now we need to go through these others, and we need to try and get through them a bit more slick, gentlemen. 1, 2, 3, 4 to go. Okay, let's get it rolling. It's not very often that one of the greatest players ever to play for the club also ends up being one of the best managers ever as well. However, it's an extraordinary example of how this theory was proved spectacularly wrong despite a forgettable second stint. This first, however, cannot be ignored. The Reds were unable to replicate their form on the European stage due to the terrible events of Heysel, but 3 league crowns and 2 FA Cups capped off a decade where Liverpool completely dominated English football. Sadly for the Scot, his second managerial spell was largely forgettable for many reasons.
King Kenny. And you know what? The lasting memory of King Kenny, when we went to Stamford Bridge in his first season as a player manager, and he only got a notch to goal, didn't he?
He scored the 1-0 goal. And Prince, can I tell you something? I was there.
Hey.
I'll never forget that one. I was a schoolboy. and I promised I was with my dad at the time, and I promised him that, I was staying with my friend. When I went to knock for my friend, he wasn't allowed to go. I actually went on my own.
Wow.
To schoolboy, yeah. Went on my own. Never forget that. Yeah.
Yeah. King Kenny, mate. King Kenny, he came in, he brought in the likes of John Aldridge, Peter Beardsley, John Barnes, Steve McManaman.
Magical Johnny Barnes.
Not Steve McManaman. Steve McMahon. Yeah, and even the likes of like Ronnie Whelan was still playing, and Nigel Spackman, I remember, was still playing for us, and he got him in. So his first stint as a manager, I think we played wonderful football, wonderful football. And for me, King Kenny, I think he's going to have to be number 2 for me.
Oof.
3 leagues, 1 League Cup, 2 FA Cups, 2 Charity Shields outright, 1 and 2 Charity Shields shared.
I like the sheer football, the football we played. And remember, I was a youngster then as well, and it was just pure simplicity on the eye, and it was just, oh mate, yeah. I that's the lasting memories of King Kenny. Just the players and player manager. We replicated the way he played as a footballer, without doubt.
So, Preds, what number you put in him at?
Already said, put him 2.
Number 2. Okay. Stoney.
I have to be moving my stuff around now, man. Because you know what? I almost forgot that he had 2 stints there. And do you know what the thing is? Like, similar to what Preds was saying, for a lot of people, for the younger viewers that probably aren't aware, it wasn't just about Kenny being a manager. There was more what he actually did for Liverpool, and also how he managed Liverpool during the Heysel stadium period as well. So I've got an issue here, a very big issue. Mm-hmm. I have to put Kenny as my 4th. So whoever was my 4th has to be moved down, RT. But Kenny will go in as my 4th because I did forget he had 2 stints.
And I didn't do this in pencil. I wrote it in pen, yeah.
This ain't brother. This ain't school.
So listen. I'm just going to clarify this for you now. So this means that everybody moves down 1. So it means that Julian now goes to 7, Rafa goes to 6, Fagan goes to 5, Kenny goes to 4.
That's fine. Yeah, I can handle that.
Okay. I told man Julian was in 7. I told man it's from time.
Yeah, I can handle that.
Okay, Doctor.
Yeah. Had the honor of meeting King Kenny in person a few times, and like the man's got gravitas, but he's got this sense of humility as well. And I tell you what, you see when you sing the Fields of Bannerford Road and his part comes into it, right? There is this kind of magic part of it, and yeah, man. I think with King Kenny, you almost have to minus the second stint. Although we did win a cup, right? I'm sure we did win a cup. Did we win a cup, the League Cup?
Yeah, we did.
And sometimes negative things negative situations can lead to positive outcomes. So him signing Andy Carroll is what created the transfer committee and all the great signings that come from that since. So in many ways, maybe King Kenny knew, I'm going to sign this stud. They're going to realize that it's a mistake, and they're going to create a new system that means that they're going to sign ballers moving forward. But yeah, I just think this was my tough one, personally. I think what he did for the city around Hillsborough is unforgettable. The style of play, and although he did take on a winning team or a team that was elite, it felt that he evolved the team and he brought new things into it. So it wasn't just that he was carrying it on; he almost like he brought it forward. And I think, unfortunately, the European ban due to Heysel means obviously we couldn't have competed in Europe, and therefore he doesn't have a European trophy to his name. But I think for the style of football, what he means to the city, what he was as a player,
think
I've got him as third.
You putting him where?
Third.
Third. Okay.
I think I might have to change my thingy, but hey.
Yo, listen.
Mhm.
Change your listen. Only thing you need to
Dr. Blake is right though.
change is your brief.
That 6 year ban from 85 to 91 robbed us of what potentially King Kenny could have done for us. But hey, it's
Absolute, bro. Like, I'm always
because
saying,
you know
like,
what? Because the thing was, if you check it, we got banned in 85, right? And then we were able to get back into Europe 91, and then in 92 was when the Premier League and all of the money came in. So imagine if we were still in Europe for those 6 years before the Premier League came in and the big money. We would have been like Man City or like Saudi Arabia at the moment.
Yeah, we were laughing, man.
Anyway.
And especially where English football had dominated the European Cup throughout the late 70s and early 80s as well. I just think it was a no-brainer that we would have done well in that tournament. Like, absolutely. We had too many strings to our bow. And I think even someone like John Barnes, I feel sorry for, because I felt for a couple of years, John Barnes was the best player in the world outside of Diego Maradona. But just didn't have the platform. Obviously, the English issues, well, playing for England, and then us not being in Europe. But I just think we had some serious ballers who would have gone into Europe and clapped man up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the physicality, the technical ability, the pace, the power, the creativity. I thought that team was like, that was a serious team. And I actually want to put Kenny higher. But I just
I ain't got no bro, I ain't got no Tipex around here, yeah?
Nah,
So
he's third.
there's some duns above him though.
He's third. He is third.
Okay, so all right. So far, gentlemen, Stoney has Kenny at 4, Fagan at 5, Rafa at 6, Julia at 7. Doctor has Kenny at 3, Rafa at 5, Fagan at 6, Julia at 7. Preds has Kenny at 2, Rafa at 4, Fagan at 5, Julia at 6. Okay, 1, 2, 3 to go, gentlemen. Let's get this cracking. Next on the list. So, after Shankly resigned in 74, this man, another one of the founding members of the Brute Room, took the reins and won an astonishing 20 trophies in just 9 seasons. One of the greatest achievements by any English manager to this day. Considered as one of the best, this man secured 6 First Division championships and even had a set of gates named after him outside of the famous Kop stand following his retirement. But it was his achievements on the European stage that set the precedent and cemented his legacy at Anfield, winning a sensational 3 European Cups between 77 and 81, and securing back-to-back titles in 78, thanks to a 1-0 win against Club Brugge at Wembley. In 2024, only 9 clubs in Europe have ever managed to retain their European crown, which was the start of a period of dominance on the domestic and global stage.
That's what I'm saying.
Take
Mic
a bow.
drop.
Take a bow.
And that's what I'm saying. And that is the reason why, like, all in all respect, like last week's show, I was wearing a top in homage of this brother. And we're actually speaking about certain mic drop moments. Like, certain people out on the road know about like Bob Marley. And if you know the occasion, you call him Robert. So this man here call him Robert Pearsley. You see me? Robert Pearsley. That's what I'm saying. Have some manners. We have to call him what his parents address him to.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to use that one day. Robert Pearsley. Yeah.
I said Robert Paisley.
Easy, Stoney. Easy, man. Easy. Okay. Okay. Well, I think I know where you're putting him then.
Listen, in RT, this was the manager for me. So I've said it on previous shows. I moved to Wembley in 79, right? And I had the fortune of being able to go up to King Edward's Park, which was a stone's throw from the original Wembley. And what we used to do is play football at the park, and all of us used to either ride up on our bikes up to the original Wembley or up there. When the players used to come up Wembley, they used to come out of Wembley Central train station. So we used to see those players on a high road coming up. In my head, I thought Liverpool was in London because all I used to see was everything to do with Liverpool. So this man and these players created history for me, and I was able to experience and see this firsthand. So as you said, man is winning the league in like 76, 77, 79, 80, 82, 83. We're winning league cups, like back-to-back, 81, 82, 83. We win European cups, UEFA cups, and Euro Super Cups. If that was the case at the moment, man is having stature in Liverpool, Dubai, London, Australia, America, JA, Cape Verde, everywhere. That's how much silverware Robert has. So for me, that's just a mic drop moment, man. You know where I'm putting him already.
So what number you putting him, Stoney?
One. Listen, I can't sing, but I'm putting him as number one.
Just making sure.
Number one. If Biggie was here, I'd rap like Biggie. He's going number one for me, man. Standard.
Okay.
Nobody ain't beating him. Not even Pep can speak to him.
All right. Dr. Paisley.
Yeah, listen, it is hard to follow what Stoney does, like the homage to Mr. Paisley. But yeah.
So Robert.
Yeah, listen, Stoney, listen. If the great man is watching up above somewhere, he's smiling after he heard that. He's smiling, he's smiling. Probably him and Bob themselves are probably bunning a zoo and singing a few hallelujahs upstairs still. So who knows? Who knows? Yeah, I just think his record speaks for itself. Different layer of dominance, and
let me see.
Because I just think
UEFA Super Cup, 3 League Cups,
it's crazy, bro. It's
5 times Charity Shield, and 3 Champions Leagues.
Because it's almost.
And you know what? I'm not trying to say that I'm trying to influence. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that I wish to influence where Bob Paisley ends up being here, but I'm just putting it out to one of the goalkeeping community here, Preds. You know them times when Bob Paisley was winning all that silverware, Ray Clements was in goal, dunning it up.
Yeah, come on.
I'm just saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, Ray Clements was there, and then Ray Clements left, and then the one and only Bruce Grobbler took over.
Yeah.
And I just think the takeover from Bill Shankly was a huge job. In retrospect, obviously, we know the success and we know how great he then became, but I just think it's difficult to look back at it, and he had a lot of pressure on his shoulders, a lot of pressure. And not only did he take over in a sense of that, he continued the dominance. He took it to, I was going to say a whole new level, but to 2 new levels, because realistically, our international reputation as being a superpower was cemented and established under Paisley as well. So, yeah, I just think he is numero uno. He is in the Mount Rushmore.
Okay. You've got him at number 1 as well, yeah?
Yeah, has to be. And that coat was a gully man coat as well, still.
That's what I'm saying.
For real. All right, Freds.
I mean, look, to be fair, for the man to have spent the equivalent back then of £5 million and to have won that amount of trophies and to have gone on to Liverpool's journey, I mean, we can't look any further than Bob being number 1. I think, to be fair, I don't think we can do much better, much more justice than what Stoney's already done. Stoney's kind of spoken for the panel in respect.
Yeah, I think Stoney
in a good way, by the way,
as well. Okay, so we have. It's not really up for debate. It's one here saying should be rated as number 1. While the Scot didn't win as many trophies as the man he eventually replaced him, it's how he embodied his ideology and captured the hearts of Scousers and Liverpool fans around the world. The way that Shankly conducted himself, not only with the supporters, but with the players, meant that there wasn't a single soul that had a bad word to say about him. As the founder of the Brute Room, Shankly brought in players such as Ian St. John, Roger Hunt, Kevin Keegan, John Toshak, to name a few, all of whom became Liverpool icons and legends. Not only is Shankly the greatest Liverpool manager of all time, but he's also one of the best that the English game has ever seen. So, he has the First Division trophy 3 times, Second Division trophy, FA Cup twice, UEFA Cup, and the Charity Shield. Won it once and shared it twice. So,
Wow.
Shankly.
Can I go here first?
Yeah, go for it, man.
I always struggle with Shankly because for me, I always give credit and credence to those that did it first. And I think, although Paisley's record is obviously superior to Shankly's, obviously Paisley has built upon what Shankly created. And the fact that Shankly's got on his record a Second Division title kind of shows you where we were kind of working around at that point in time. So I think realistically, the modern Liverpool, when I say the modern Liverpool, in terms of us being a elite club, I think is as a result of Bill Shankly. And I actually think the argument between him and Paisley is super, super close. Because I just think, realistically, he built the foundations for how the club now is. And I think those that come first should always get a special place in our hearts. But I think it's just because of the sheer success that Paisley had that I think this is why he just pips Bill. But I think it's a cross-up personally, because what I don't know is if Paisley could have walked into Liverpool like when Shankly did and left the legacy like what Shankly did. I don't know if Paisley could have done that. And I think this is why I just think, yeah, for Shankly to really take a club that was floundering really and then create what he created, I think was just exceptional. So he is still second, but it's there. But I think, yeah, realistically, he is the godfather, man.
So you're putting him where?
He's second, but I think it's a toss of a coin. I don't know if Paisley could do what Shankly did.
All right, Preds.
Well, I'm just going to mess you up and say that I agree with what Dr. Blake has said, and I think to be fair, for me, it'd be really unjust to distinguish between the two, and I would have to say, whether it's allowed or not, I was going to say that Shankly has got to be joint top with Bob Paisley. I know in different areas they've done things in different times.
You can't have that, mate. Sorry.
Oh, come on, man! Like,
you can't have that.
Seriously.
Sorry.
Can I you know what? Typically,
you got one space left, bro.
All right, well,
no, sorry, you got 2 spaces left, and these 2 managers cannot go in either of one of them. I'll tell you that.
I know.
Can I just say, I would always agree. We need order 1, 2, 3, 4. Everyone just make up your mind and choose one.
Yeah.
However, if there was ever a time for a special this conversation, yeah, it would be for this. I think a joint first.
No.
Isn't the world's worst idea. I'm not gonna lie.
What's happened is though, Preds has messed up himself because one of the spots he's got 3 is number 7.
Only
Preds. Yeah, and we've got this manager here, Shankly, and we've got one more, obviously, which we all know who that is.
I don't know why you remember Penny and Houllier like that. I didn't understand it.
Preds has fucked up. I might have to call my son and tell him to bring down the Tipex because Preds has fucked shit up. Trust me, once again. Preds,
Yeah.
you've done it, mate. So Preds, you've got number 3 and number 7.
Well,
Damn.
what I'm going to do then, I'm just going to knock everyone down one. So Julio will be going number 7.
I told man from the start. He ain't 7. I told man.
You might have given me work.
I
Yeah.
said Hulier's 5th in that. I said it.
Right, Houllier 7. So that means that Fagan goes to number 6.
6. Rafa goes to number 5.
Rafa goes to number 5.
King Kenny goes to number 3. Bob goes to number 2. No, sorry. Hold on.
Yeah.
I missed something. Oh, no, number 4. I missed that number 4, didn't I?
Yeah, yes, you're 4 still 3 then.
So if they wouldn't have this problem if you just put Bob and Bill at the same on point 1.
No.
Yeah, but Prince, if you get them 1, then
Come on,
then
Prince.
you've got no seconds.
So Julio 7. So Julio 7. Smoking Joe is 6.
Yep.
Rafa is number 5. King Kenny.
So you're putting Kenny at 4 now.
No. Kenny can't go at 4. Who's 4? Who's 4?
No one's 4 at the moment.
Oh, mate. It's got to be King Kenny at 4 then.
Kenny at 4 now.
No, you know what? No. I know where I'm going.
Who's moving?
Number 3.
Ain't me.
Not me. Number 3 is King Kenny. Number 2 is Bob. Number 1 is Bill Shankly.
So hold on, number 2 is Bob now, yeah?
Yeah.
Robert. This looks like a hot mess now. Man.
That's what you should. I can't believe you had on a schoolboy and didn't do it in pencil.
I thought I was working with adults.
All started with
I
Houllier.
do stuff in pencil when I'm helping my daughters do their homework. You get me?
It was like the Houllier. You man were getting way too sentimental when I'm hearing 4th and the 5th. I was like, Houllier.
You understand? Way too sentimental. So Stoney,
Sanity out.
I need you to play Shankly now. You got 2 spots left.
And I know what those 2 spots are. Yeah. So for me, it's interesting. I actually like the rationale from Dr. Blake in terms of what Shankly had actually done for Liverpool in terms of silverware. As a snapshot, prior to Shankly being appointed as our manager, Liverpool, and I'll put it bluntly, we never done shit. Phil Taylor was our manager prior to that for 3 years, and he never done nothing. So 59, Shankly came in, 15 years, he did what he did, he patterned it up. He laid the foundations to win silverware, and then Robert did what he needed to do after that. Shankly still moves into 2nd place for me. Only reason is I was able to live my early years, and Bob Paisley was the reason why I fell in love with Liverpool. So Shankly moves into 2nd place for me.
Okay, so that means that Stoney's got 1 place left, and that's where.
Yeah, and I know where that 1 place is. I know the cards. I play dominoes, you know.
You sure?
Yeah, I play dominoes. I know who this last person is, man.
You have to come around and clap at 6, bro.
My granddad needs to make me come from downstairs and turn over the telly when he was playing dominoes. I know what this is about. I know the game's right here, you know.
Okay, so obviously, gentlemen, we have to leave the last one to have to. So right now he's going in at number 3 on Stoney's list. He goes in at number 4 on Doctor's list, and he goes in at number 4 on Preds' list. Okay.
Yeah.
So the list looked like this so far. Preds has got Houllier at 7, Fagan at 6, Rafa at 5, Klopp at 4, Kenny at 3, Robert at 2, Shankly number 1. Doctor has Houllier at 7, Fagan at 6, Rafa at 5, Klopp at 4, Kenny at 3, Shankly at 2, Robert at number 1, and Stoney has it Houllier at 7, Rafa at 6, Fagan at 5, Kenny at 4, Klopp at 3, Shankly at 2, and Robert as number 1. It's funny how it's funny how the reasonings go, and like the man with more trophies might not be above the other man, and it's good to see how the different factors and the different thinking. You understand? I must say. So
Very
you man, they
interesting.
say, boy, you rate Klopp as number 3 or number 4 out of the all-time list of Liverpool managers.
Yeah.
Klopp's on Mount Rushmore for me, and I think Klopp couldn't have got 1 or 2 simply because of who's there. But I do think he could have potentially moved above Dalglish.
Yeah, I think so. For what he had, the rebuild that he had to do,
Absolutely.
I think so. I definitely think so.
I just think why I haven't put him above King Kenny is simply because of what's happened in the last 3 to 4 years. And although he's had some really tough hands in terms of COVID and all the other issues that taken place, I am of the view if he had continued listening to Edwards and Cole, I think we win more trophies in recent seasons, and I think he would have just pushed past King Kenny. But absolutely, Klopp for me is the modern Shankly, because let's just be honest, lads, we were a joke before Klopp came. We were a joke.
Yep. 100%.
Like, if Klopp had established us getting regular top 4 football, we would have in ourselves been happy about that. We wouldn't want to say that publicly, but we would have basically been happy with that. So for us to
DW says Klopp is number 2. He brought NFC back from the dead.
Strong argument.
Well, it's a bit Abdul. It's a bit early to ask that, sir. He hasn't even taken a training session yet. You know what I mean? I think
What I'd say to that,
the ink is still wet on the contract.
it's true. Abdul, come and tune in. The first game for Arne Slot is the 27th of July.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, we'll just have to watch
Klopp.
his space, man.
Just on Klopp, I did find some stats just to kind of really, I guess, emphasize what Vinny said. So he takes over 2014-15, yeah? So our capacity then was 45,500. It's now 61,000. So we've done the whole Wenger thing and built the stadium on the ground. So he hasn't obviously built a new stadium, but Anfield has risen in capacity, and the funds that the club generated had to go to paying for the stadium changes, which then obviously hampered what he could spend in the transfer market. Match day revenue was 59 million. It's now 90 million. Commercial revenue was 116 million. It's now 285 million.
Jeez.
Club's turnover was 298 million. It's now 575 million. And our valuation, according to Forbes in 2014, was 650 million. Now it's 4.3 billion.
Wow. And you know what you forgot to say, Doctor? He came in with casual teeth and he left with porcelains. That's a bad boy flex.
He made AFC the best team in the world with a team without superstars.
It's true.
Well, it was just him, innit? It was like you get managers who come along once in a while and they're special, and they're not just special in regards to creating a team and producing good football. Like we were at one stage, we were the most feared team in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, and how he galvanized the supporters and he bridged that gap between the love affair between the supporters, the management, the supporters, the players. He just bridged that gap, you know, and only someone with the character and the charisma, such as Klopp, you know, was able to do it. So you know what, you know, he'll be missed.
Abdul Rahim says, what was FSG and the board's reason for getting Arne Slot? Was it a right choice? And him being an unknown. So
that's another show.
I think it is, but also I reckon it's a lot to do with there's a lot of similarities to Klopp. which means that his style of playing, whatever, won't be a big upheaval for our players. So that is definitely one of the things. He's willing to work with the likes of Edwards and all that. So that's another thing. That's another plus. And he's also one of those ones who has had success being the smaller team abroad to one of those big giants and managing to overturn them and win trophies and break that mold. I think those are the main reasons why that he was brought in.
Question, gents. Question. And I'm now even questioning like my own lists. Could Kenny Dalglish do the job Jurgen Klopp did?
Elaborate on that if you're able to, Dr. Blake.
So, I mean, in terms of, could Kenny Dalglish have walked into Liverpool and we were, say, the 5th or 6th best team in the land? Obviously, City had their riches. United have been spending for years. Chelsea are Chelsea. Arsenal better than us. Let's be real. Under Brendan Rodgers, we had Suarez who tried to go on strike so he could go to Arsenal. Who else tried to go to Arsenal? Alexis Sanchez chose Arsenal over Liverpool. If you think back to it, because I know things have changed, but us signing Oxlade-Chamberlain was a bit of a coup. It was the first time that an Arsenal player almost goes to Liverpool. So I feel, although we've obviously held the club higher in our own hearts, but let's just be real, when Klopp walks through the door, we're about the 5th or 6th best team in the country. So I guess what I'm saying is the job that Klopp's done in taking the 6th best team in terms of resources, finances, standing, the way players see it. Let's not forget what Gerrard was saying about him under Brendan Rodgers, where the club are trying to get Gerrard to sign players like Tony Cruz in that because the club doesn't have the appeal to sign these kind of guys. So I just think when Klopp walks through the door, we're kind of mediocre, innit? So I guess the question I'm asking, I'm almost kind of maybe wanting to change my own list is, could Dalglish have done what Klopp did in terms of what he inherited?
I think the interesting thing for me as an individual, I think both managers had not just a connection with the club, but they had a connection with the city, and I really think that's important. I think where my individual difference between Klopp and Kenny is the tactical side of it. I'm not too sure whether Kenny would have had the technical nous of what Klopp would have had to have made sure we created and sustained the level of fight and importance of winning silverware that Klopp was able to, battling against the Man Cities. So that's my only opinion. And
I think this is what I'm leaning to. Yeah.
So they,
and I think this is what
they both.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so they both had an important and emotional attachment with the club and the city. But I just think in terms of that level, Klopp, I just think that had that extra little bit of Salt Bay, sprinkling the salt on the steak than Kenny would have had. That's just my opinion. Yeah,
I think the first, I think with Dalglish's first stint, I think I honestly believe that it's on par. He could have done it on par with what Klopp done from his first stint. Obviously, the second stint wasn't thing. So I'm always remembering Kenny Dalglish's Sir Kenny Dalglish, by the way. I'm always remembering his first stint. And his first stint as Liverpool manager was electric. He brought he had to get a side together. He brought in these new players, Ray Houghton, John Aldridge, Ian Rush had just left to go to Juve, John Barnes. So he had to then do another rebuild in effect. And the only thing that kind of missed from Kenny Dalglish's first period of management is that we didn't have the delights of going on a European journey, whereas with Klopp, he has.
But I guess what I would say, two points to that, right? Two questions to that. would we all agree though that we were the biggest team in the country when King Kenny takes over?
Exactly.
First point.
Yeah.
And the season before he takes over, obviously Heisman takes place. So for Heisman to take place, we have to get to the European Cup final, right? So he does take over a team that has got to European Cup final. And do you know what? Actually, yeah, I don't think King Kenny could have done the job that Klopp's done. And
I think it was basically laid on a plate for him, to be honest.
Don't get me wrong, he did take it on, and obviously he did won the league with Blackburn. Again, Blackburn did have a lot of money in that period. You know, it feels really hard to almost want to scrutinize King Kenny's achievements because the guy's an absolute legend. But I think Artie, if we're saying about who's the best Liverpool manager, I think I'm changing my mind, you know.
He's talking himself out. He's talking himself out.
Listen, it's too late, lads. That part's gone. That part's sold.
I want to say this. I think King Kenny is a bigger legend than Klopp, but I think Klopp's a better coach.
Okay. So Vinny says that his connection with the fans may even be more unique than Shankly, talking about Klopp, saying the outpouring of love we've seen in the last month tells us all we need to know about what Klopp meant to the fans.
Gee.
And he says, no, I don't think Kenny could have, to be honest. And then he says that, yes, we were still the number one team. What is Abdul saying now? Saying, once Uruguay getting the best out of Darwin Núñez, what does Arnie Slot needs to do to get the best out of Darwin Núñez?
Slap him up, man.
I mean, can I just throw something in quickly?
This is why Darwin deleted his Liverpool pictures.
I know. Artie, could you just put up who was that person that mentioned that about Darwin Núñez, please?
Abdul Rahim.
Abdul. Cool. Abdul, thank you. We appreciate you tuning into the show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification bell as well. Just to throw something quickly up there. Darwin Núñez currently has the opportunity to work with two elite managers in Jurgen Klopp and Bielsa. So Bielsa currently plays a similar formation to Jurgen Klopp, 4-3-3, or they occasionally play in a 4-2-3-1. I think for Darwin, we're probably able to see the amount of goals he's been scoring. It's not too dissimilar to the setup that Liverpool of currently having. Me personally, I just hope that whatever additional training that Darwin is currently having for his national team in Uruguay, then it complements and supports us as Liverpool. But both managers good, and it's just about him being able to progress as a player. But if he's talking about Darwin Núñez and what is he getting from playing, is Bielsa getting the best out for him? Darwin Núñez needs to just get the ball in the back of the net and stop licking the post and licking people in the crowd. That's all I'm saying, personally. But yeah, serious, it's true. I'm not paying my money to go to a match to get licking my face by a ball from Darwin Núñez. Hit it in the goal.
Abdul,
I would like Edison, Elise, Colwell, and Mayer goalkeeper.
I think that's brilliant.
That last Bielsa, is that the young goalkeeper that was playing for Leeds years ago?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
it's the same guy, isn't it?
Yeah. If we could keep Kelleher, then I don't want him. No point.
Colwell would be nice though.
Yeah,
I think they've signed as a dope. I'm not gonna lie. I think Colwell, Edison, and Elise. Yeah, I think that's
definitely. The man had half a million people turn up after we lost the league and Champions League final. Says a lot about the man.
We're a big club. Big club.
But then equally,
and Man City had one man and a man buying a wagon wheel coming when they won the league.
I'm also a stray dog.
It's crazy.
and a newspaper blow across the road. You get me? That was their lot. But yeah, peoples. We have to call it quits right there.
Yeah,
say
late.
good night because that was intense, man. I must say, too much. Next, don't worry. Next time I'm gonna bring pencil and rubber to the table. Because,
I think people watching this show is going to have to do it in stints, mate.
yeah, I'm telling you. But gentlemen, now brilliant. Your insights have been brilliant. Your thoughts have been brilliant. I must say, it has been a blast once again. Preds,
Always a pleasure.
yes, my brother. Stoney,
Listen, I just want to say once again, thank you very much for everybody tuning into Cop Talk. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And on a second note, even though I know it's not to do with Cop Talk, please, this Sunday,
oh yes,
Sunday the night, come down to Acton and Ealing Whistlers. We have London Ballers Vets taking place. I believe that RT is going to be playing for Jamaica. Come down and watch him play with his bent foot and see if he can get through to the final. So come down and support London Ballers Vets. You can still get your tickets on London Eventbrite
to get your tickets.
Exactly.
And you can see Stoney refereeing as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Fight for Uriah Rennie.
Listen, I told you, 6'2" in the shade, man.
Yeah. Thank you very much, VW, man. Much appreciated, brother. Much appreciated. Peoples, we will definitely see you back here next week.